I was with the Mason County Sheriff's Office from 1978 through 1993, and I left there at the rank of sergeant and came here to the rank of lieutenant in 1993. I spent 4 years prior to that. I spent in the Air Force. That was something that they had a police cadet program in California in the high school system through the Boy Scouts, and I was interested in that, and that's kind of how I got exposed to it. And by going through that, then I wanted to pursue the law enforcement career, so I joined the Air Force and did law enforcement in the Air Force, and then that was just a natural progression when I got out to continue. It's just something that I'd always wanted to do. Well, like I said, I was with Mason County Sheriff's Office, and I had been promoted to sergeant. I'd been a sergeant about a little over 3 years. Mm-hmm. And pretty much everybody senior to me or my superiors were all about my age, mm-hmm. with about the same amount of time in the sheriff's office as I had. So it was pretty obvious to me that promotions and openings were going to be delayed for a while. So I began to look at opportunities outside of the sheriff's office, and Battleground was advertising and hiring for a lieutenant based on anticipated growth, which obviously we got. So they were asking for applications, so I turned in my application. I think there were 60 applicants at the time, and through the process, I ended up getting hired. So for me, it was a promotion and an opportunity to expand into administrative roles, where the agency I was with, that opportunity was going to be slim, little, or none, based on the age and experience of the people above me, and the number of the slots were very few. Well, I would like to accentuate the positive. Mm-hmm. The positive is to see the quality of the officers that we have, and the service commitment that they have to the community, and the positive reaction that we get back from the community. The community is very supportive of us here, and that's not the case across the United States. When I know that officers comment all the time how lucky that we are to work here and have the support of the citizens that we have. But that support has been earned through the hard work of the men and women of the police department. And just watching that grow has been very rewarding. I mean, there's a host of things that happened on the negative side and the not so pleasant side that are memorable, but mm-hmm. that's not worth dwelling on. You know, it's been interesting to watch young officers come into the department and grow and mature into supervisors and leaders within the department. That's been very rewarding. When I came to work in '93, I was the 8th police officer hired. And we usually had one officer on at any given time. And if that officer got more than one call on an 8-hour shift, it was a rare day. Mm-hmm. We usually get 1 or 2 calls a day. That was it. And usually those calls were community caretaking, service-related calls. They weren't major crimes. Mm-hmm. We did traffic enforcement and that type of stuff, just community caretaking, keeping the peace type stuff. But that rapidly began to change after I came to work here and the population growth started to grow. We began to see more and more calls for service, more and more demands on our time. And as we began to hire and recruit officers and get more people out onto the street to cope with that, we discovered something very interesting, and that is you are under the impression that if you hire more officers, you will be able to improve efficiency and you'll be able to handle things better. Well, the reality is, in the modern world, you've got to have technology to do that. So we introduced a lot of technology into the department here in the last, 15 years. Patrol cars did not have in-car mobile computing when I came here. Everything was done on pad and pencil, and We talked on a radio that was a VHF system, which was a very good system, but it was 1960s technology. And it was rapidly ending its life cycle. So we made the transition to the 800 radio, the trunk system, and with that came mobile data into the patrol cars. And that has led us to where we are now, where we have mobile data on cell phones, laptops, tablets. We have just a plethora of electronic devices to support our mission out there, which improves our efficiency and our capabilities. But it also requires a tech-savvy officer to operate it. And fortunately, the young officers that we're hiring are brought up in a tech environment. So they understand this stuff. In fact, a lot of them understand it better than I do, and they teach me, which is great. But the challenge was having experienced officers on the street and getting them to engage the new technology and teaching them how to use it was very challenging. Some people just didn't want anything to do with it. They were afraid of it. They rejected it. They didn't want to learn it. So that was challenging. So I would say technology, introduction of technology, comes along with that is the complexity of the job. The job of law enforcement has become more complex in the last 20 years than I would have even thought possible. So the complexity of the work and the technology are probably the two biggest challenges and also the two biggest achievements. It's a very unique community to live and work in, and again, the support that has been shown to us over the years. The officers here work really hard to maintain that relationship with the public, and I think that is a secret to our success, why we enjoy our popularity, and we strive to maintain community relations. And I hope that's not lost in the future. I hope that it doesn't become, that the city doesn't grow up and become so big that sense of service to the community gets lost due to time demands, pressure to handle calls, the complexity of things, all those things that seem to challenge larger agencies. I hope doesn't become a challenge for Battleground. I hope that the police department is able to continue on with this service first attitude.
My 7th year anniversary this month, so I've known Roy for the last 7 years, and I can tell you that there isn't anybody that cares more about this community or the police department than he does. He's been an invested member for 25 years, and he's the one that makes this place run, like every second in command. He's the one that makes sure things work, the cars work, the lights in the building, come on in the morning, and the air conditioner works and everything else. And when something breaks, he's the guy everybody goes to and says, "Hey, can you get this fixed?" He's the one who's got the historical knowledge of why we've done things the way we have over the years. And he's going to be missed because that is a big hole to fill.